So in the June quarter, we kept our iPhone number at 28 million. I feel like that's a good number. We had a good print out of Verizon. I feel comfortable with that. We took down our iPad numbers. We took down our Mac numbers in the June quarter. And when you take a look at it, the September quarter, because there's uncertainty over the exact timing of some of the new iPhone releases. We have a lower-priced iPhone and a 5S in the September quarter. It's not exactly clear when those will be released in the quarter. It has a big impact on September quarter. So we took down our iPhone numbers for September quarter. iPad, I think, is just weak, and they're not going to have a launch until October, so we took down those numbers as well yesterday. So net-net, we're looking for just over $7 a share in September quarter. Street's at about 8.
And Gene Munster of Piper Jaffray had, similar things to say about declining iPad usage, and yet there's a new study out from Topeka saying that iPad usage hit 84% of the North American tablet market. I mean, how do we square those numbers? It certainly sounds like it's doing very well.
Yeah, so, I think you have a big installed base of iPad users, so the web traffic percentage is very, very high. I just think expectations on the street for iPad in the June and September quarter, especially September quarter, is the one I'm more worried about with iPad, got ahead of expectations. So we took down the numbers. We've heard softness in the supply chain, and that was kind of the reasoning behind it.
Now, you say there's a lot to look forward to beyond what Apple reports today. You heard Corey speaking earlier about some of the possibilities, but what are you looking for in terms of new products outside the iPhone and the iPad?
Yeah, so just, the big issue at Apple has been the high-end smartphone market hit a wall. And people are kind of extrapolating that to lack of innovation. I think nothing more could be true. I still think the best days ahead of Apple we're going to see in the future. So fiscal 13 was a horrible year. Fiscal 14 is going to be a year of innovation. We've got a lower-priced iPhone clearly on the way sometime in September. We have a 5S shortly thereafter. We're going to have an iPad refresh. But we also have big innovations like iWatch, Apple TV, China Mobile. So wearable devices is a totally new area for Apple, as Tim Cook described, another branch to the Apple tree. So I still think, we're in the early stages of what Apple could become, because the mobile internet is still in the early stages.
Brian, you think we're going to see an iWatch next year?
I think 2014.
And then an Apple TV set or some sort of innovation there?
I would be surprised if we don't see both of those by the end of calendar 2014.
Okay. We've been hearing drips and drabs about Apple's television plans. It certainly sounds like they could be farther away than we initially thought. It sounds like they're in the very early stages of even figuring out a business model.
So, we started hearing Apple was interested in this market in mid-2010, and I think the big issue has been wrapping up the content in the cable companies. So, it's going to be up to Apple, right? I mean, the hardware could come out, the software could come out. It's just up to Apple how much content they can wrap up by the time this new Apple TV comes out. So if they want to come out with not everything wrapped up, that's possible. It's still a useful device. If they want to wrap it all up, it could take longer. So I think that's the real gating factor.